Well, welcome back. We're back here in Lebanon, Ohio, at the Glendower Historic Mansion. And I have with me, you'll recognize Lisa Holtz from last fall when we were here for the historic encampment. Tell our viewing audience when the Glendower Historic Mansion was originally built.
It was completed around 1845, and it was the first house that was built here in Floraville, which is the ridge just south of Lebanon.
Well, how about taking our viewing audience on a tour of your entire facility? Would that be okay?
Sure, it'd be great. Okay, so this is the main entrance to the house. It is a Greek Revival style building. When the house was originally built, it was the center hallway and a room on either side. So if you were coming to visit us at Glendower as a guest, you would enter through this grand doorway here. Now, a couple features of the house that are original to the first owners is the light above your head, which would have been pulled down. It would have been lit by candle, and then eventually gas, and finally electricity into the 20th century. So we can't pull it down anymore, but it is really neat to see. Another feature is our super door lock, and it has two slides, and you're welcome to step up a little closer if you can't see. And it has a key, and then that would pull up and open. So this room, like I said, was the family parlor. They would spend most of their time here as a family. The kids would be allowed to come into this room if they were well behaved on special occasions, or if they probably were playing the piano for guests or something. So you'll notice the doorway here, and the doorway was such that they could close it off. There were doors at one time. They could close off the dining room for a more intimate dinner, or they could open it up and extend the table out here and actually seat for up to 30 people quite comfortably. So this is the double parlor, or the formal parlor, where the family would have spent their time entertaining, hosting guests. As you can see, it's quite lavishly decorated. We chose this year to do an angel theme. We have a lady who donated her angel collection to us to use. And so all of the angels that you see on the tree, the mantles, pretty much throughout the room are part of her collection. This is the library. The wings of the main house were built a couple years after the main house was completed. Mr. Williams and his wife had had a few more children. They needed a little extra space. They also needed some extra bedrooms so that they could have a live-in nanny, live-in housekeeper. So this room we decorated red, white, and blue, patriotic. At the museum this summer we had quite an extensive display of military memorabilia that we had out for a couple months. And so that gave us the idea to do this room. We have our little people dressed here. We have our WAC over here, and our sailor, and our Army guy here. And if you haven't noticed, he's writing a letter home to Mom. So we are in the landing on the second story here, and I imagine this is probably where the family spent most of their time, Mrs. Williams and the kids. This is a nice space to kind of gather. Right now we have a beautiful dollhouse here that we're showing. This was built by a gentleman for his wife. She had never had a dollhouse, always wanted one, and so he built this all for her. And now they reside at Otterbein Retirement Center and don't have room for it, so we are happy to showcase it for them. Originally, I think it would have been Mr. Williams' room. The children would have been quite young when they first moved here, so they all would have slept together in the nursery, which we'll see shortly. So I think Mr. Williams probably used this room as his office area, knowing that the library addition wasn't built yet. But then eventually, when their oldest son got to a certain age, he would have gotten his own room. And so we refer to this room as Rigdon's room. And we decorate it as if Rigdon were coming back home from the war. And this bed, when it was built, didn't have any nails in it. It's all pegged together. The beds of that time, you would have had a trundle bed in every room. just in case you had guests and it got to be late afternoon and they knew they wouldn't make it back to Cincinnati before dark. So you would offer them a place to stay. Even if they had some kids with them, you could pull out the trundle. So this is the master bedroom, or we like to refer to it as the master bedroom. So we always try and decorate this very sophisticated. It's extremely difficult to decorate because of the color of the wallpaper. You can't use a true Christmas green, Christmas red, So the little door that you see here, I think originally that probably was where they had a closet or clothes press, but when they added on the two wings, they put the door into the wing right here. So one of the features of this room I want to make sure you all take a look at is this beautiful wash basin here. Very modern for its time. So this room would have been used as the ladies' parlor upstairs here. It's connected to the nursery. This would have been a nice room where the lady of the house could have had her breakfast or morning tea. Lots of light comes in through the high windows, so really good for sewing and whatnot. So this would have been the nursery, and up to a certain point, all of the kids would have slept in the same room together. If you had a new baby, you'd bring in the cradle, you got your toddler bed, you've got the trundle bed and the bigger bed. And so everybody would have just found a spot to sleep, probably with the nanny also. Now this bed is a rope system bed, and it's unique in that the system was devised by Mr. Boyd from Cincinnati. He was a freed slave, and he went on to devise a system the way he wove the bed. It would self-regulate, so as you rolled over it would tighten or loosen as you needed it. And he went on and patented that system and did quite well for himself. Prior to that, the ropes would have been strung and you would have had a crank or some sort of a twist that would tighten it as they loosened up over time.
Well, Lisa, that was a great tour. We've really enjoyed that. This is a fabulous mansion to think it's located right here in Lebanon, Ohio. Yeah. The one thing that I'm wondering about is, can anyone come and visit and partake of the Christmas spirit during the holidays, and when would it be open?
Yes, we're open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through the month of December, and it's $8 for adults and $5 for children.
Well, and is there any age limit on the children? No skateboarding, I'm assuming?
No skateboarding. That $5 is good for children up to the age of 18.
Well, thank you again for having us here, giving us this beautiful tour. Just one thing we didn't really talk too much on the tour. How long did it take your team to put this together, and how many were involved?
Well, there's a core group of us, about 6 or 8, who are over here 3 or 4 days a week, and it took us about 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Well, folks, you've got to come and see it. You're not going to see another display like this anywhere here in the tri-state region. You've got to come out here. Come out to the Glendower Historic Mansion in Lebanon, Ohio. And Lisa, will you be doing some of the tours?
I am here every Saturday.
Saturday's the day to come to see Lisa, my favorite tour guide. Thank you.